Welcome to the Real View podcast, where Ohio Realtors connect you to innovators and influencers, keeping you with the real view of real estate. Whether you're a broker, agent, first-time homebuyer, industry leader, or just happen to stumble upon our podcast today, you can expect to hear tips, tools, tricks, interesting information, and so much more from the experts in Ohio's real estate game. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Real View podcast. I am your host, Allison Wiley. Joining me today, our special guest is Brennan Buckley. He is Chief Revenue Officer and partner of Tether RE, the first and only real estate safety platform designed to help protect agents from contract to close. And he is here today to share with us a little bit about Tether RE, how agents can really take advantage of this member benefit. Share all about it so you all are going to be knowledgeable and ready to go as we head into September, which is Realtor Safety Month. And we're going to touch a little bit on Realtor Safety Month, some things that you should be aware of as we're heading into this month that focuses on safety. But we know we should be focusing on realtor safety at all times. So before we get started in today's episode, Brennan, first I'd like to welcome you onto the show. We are so happy to have you.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for the chance to talk about safety, and thank you to the Ohio Realtors for investing the time and the effort into helping keep your realtors safe. It's an often looked over topic, and it's great to kind of put some highlight on it because it's something that everybody deals with all the time.
I agree. And yes, we know September is official Realtor Safety Month, but as we mentioned, something to keep in top of mind all the time, all year around. So hopefully what we discuss today and what you can learn from Brennan and a little bit about his company and his role will be able to do that for you guys. So Brennan, I think we should just start at the beginning. I'd like to hear a little bit about yourself, how you got started in real estate and in this company, and tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Absolutely. So I've been in real estate about 20 years. I'm located actually in the Midwest, fellow Midwesterner in Iowa, which gets mixed up, as we were joking earlier, with Ohio from people that are on the coasts. And I used to be the president of 1,000 agent brokerage here in Iowa, the largest brokerage in the state, and was there for quite a few years. During that time, by the way, I was fortunate enough to be elected president of the Des Moines Association of Realtors, multi-year MLS chair. So I've certainly spent some time in the association space. From there, helped to co-found a network of luxury agents across the country called Realm, and that's up and running and doing great. And Tether came about. It's such an interesting story. I was at a conference. There's a bunch of conferences in the industry. T360 is a huge consultancy in real estate. For those that your listeners that might not be aware, and they have a massive conference each year where they have a pitch battle. And about 100 companies try to get into this pitch battle. I think they let maybe 16 in. And think of it like Shark Tank in front of like 300 people live. You get 5 minutes. And so I was there just as an attendee, and I saw Tether, Vanessa Martin, one of the co-founders, get up and give her talk on Tether. And I walked out of the room. I called my wife back in Iowa, and I said, I don't know who these people are. I don't know where they're from, but I will be working for them within 3 months. Because the idea was filled such a void. When you hear about it, a lot of people can't believe it hasn't been done before. But they went on to win that pitch battle. They also went on to win the other pitch battle in the industry, which is the NAR pitch battle, first company ever to have won both. And now we are a NAR Reach company, which means the National Association of Realtors is investing in Tether. So when I saw the idea the first time, I dropped everything, literally dropped everything, and now working for them. So I'm excited to do that.
That's amazing. I love just from hearing their pitch, that you were able to see that vision and say, hey, this is something, I can't miss out on. How do I start working for them? That's a really cool story. And partners with NAR, now partners with Ohio Realtors too. We welcomed you guys on as an official partner with us, a member benefit earlier this year. And we're so happy to enter that with you guys. And, any of our member benefits, our partnerships, has to get approved by a ton of people. And so, this is not an easy process. It's not something that we take lightly. So we want to be making sure we're bringing the best and new and most innovative tools to our members. And that's, I think, what we found with you guys. I want to hear a little bit about Tether. Talk to us about what it is, what inspired its creation. Tell us about this amazing member benefit we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll back up a little bit and just talk about, kind of realtor safety. I mean, I think all of us that have been in the industry, we all know what the challenges are out there. Everybody's online, everybody has access to information. You're in a physical proximity with people, many of them you don't know. And if you look at the recent NAR safety study, there's some really shocking information, such as 600,000 realtors met a complete stranger alone in a home last year, which, I can see Allison on camera. She's shaking her head. Most people just can't believe it, but it happens all the time, right? We're in an industry that preaches speed to lead. Right? Somebody comes in online, you better rush to a house and show them something before you lose them and they end up in another realtor. So that happens. 600,000, 333,000 realtors said they feared for their safety at least once last year, which is a shocking number. And I think if you ask that question and said, okay, maybe not just feared for your safety, but have you been creeped out? Have you been weirded out? Like that number would be triple, right? Everybody is experiencing that, unfortunately, all the time. And then there were 60,000 crimes committed last year against real estate agents. Some of them are financial. Unfortunately, lots of them are physical. And so, listen, there's an issue out there. We know it. And the statistics are kind of talking about that. And so, Tether was created to address this first and foremost, but also address it in a way where realtors don't have to think about it, right? You're all busy and we need to deliver safety in a way that protects you all the way through the process, but does it in a way that you don't have to think about it if you don't want to. And I'll get into the features, but essentially that's what Tether is. It's meant to address a gaping concern with realtor safety out there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, bringing up realtor safety, what it means. I mean, those stats that you just shared are alarming, and I think it's one of those things, as you mentioned, we are so anxious to get to that next sale, so ready, so, want to be available, want to just trust. I think that is, the core of every realtor. You're not ever thinking like something bad is going to happen to me or like that's not going to happen to me. You know what I mean? I feel like that mindset
Yeah.
so much is a lot of the time of what our members, experience. And I think it's important to know, things have happened in Ohio for sure. As we mentioned the nationwide stats, I mean, this has happened to some of our members. I remember an incident just as recent, as last year we had with someone coming to open houses and making our agents feel uncomfortable, as you mentioned, and just being aware of that. And I think listening to your gut is so important when we think
Yeah.
about how to protect ourselves and how to be safe.
Very true. I think those of us, maybe even more so in the Midwest, are maybe a little more trusting, right? Because
Mhm.
it's the Midwest, right? We just had a big realtor forum on safety last week, and there is a jump. By the way, this is not also just a female issue.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is definitely spanning. We've got plenty of men that have been fearful or have had crimes. We had a realtor safety forum last week on Zoom. We do these once a month and there was a guy on from Minnesota, another Midwestern state, 6'5", just a hulking guy. And he described a recent time that he felt unsafe. And so, yeah, you're right. Everybody's trusting, everybody wants to get to the deal, but we just need to take a minute, if not a second, and pause. And Tether is a solution that we believe gives those pause points in a really easy way for realtors.
Definitely. And, taking steps to be proactive about this, I think is really great. Because many of these situations, we can prevent, we can't prevent, everything from happening. Yes, there are certainly instances where we could have done everything right and something's going to happen. But, so much of being safe is being proactive, being preventative, making sure we're covering our bases so that, we can remain as safe as possible. And I think through Tether, we're able to do that and able to have this as an extra tool in our tool belt to help us remain safe when we're out there on the job.
Yeah, well said. Well, how about I just walk through some of these features and how we're doing this?
Yeah,
And
tell us all about
uh,
it.
yeah, for sure. And I should just start by saying you're listening to this, and I'm going to do my best to describe a really simple app. But you can always go out to tetherre.com and you can see all these features just front and center. There's videos, there's pictures, there's all that good stuff. But essentially, this is all delivered in an app, a very simple 2-button app with a couple of other features in a hamburger menu. And we laid these features out in a way that we describe them as our 4 lines of defense. So the first line of defense might sound familiar to some of you guys. That's let's look people up before we meet them, right? Somebody's reached out online, or maybe your referrals come from another source and you just don't know who they are. Listen, looking people up is important. And we offer that as our first line of defense. There's other products out there that have lookup features. We encourage it, right? Let's do the best we can to look them up. And so with Tether, you can just put their cell phone number in and you're going to get instantaneous information. Are they who they say they are, right? Who's the name associated with the cell phone number, their birthday, their last few physical addresses, their last few email addresses, known associates they might know. You can click a button and go in deeper and get a full criminal background check on the spot. And it's across America. So for those of you that have people moving in from out of market, this is a really great way to not have to hunt somebody down in their own location. So getting the information is important. Now, looking people up is important. We believe in it, whether it's us or anybody else that offers that out there. However, that is not what truly encompasses safety. It's only part of the process because criminals can figure out ways around lookups. I think I heard a stat, I need to verify this. It's something like the average criminal commits like 8 crimes or something like that before they're ever caught. So that would not be caught in a lookup, right? There's criminals are going to figure out ways around that. So use a lookup feature if you've got it, whether it's Tether or anybody else, but please know that is not the entirety of safety. That's just one step. Now we need to keep people safe out into the field. And that's where Tether's other lines of defense kick in. Our second line of defense is our SOS feature. So this is where you can, and again, this is a really simple 2-button app. There's a blue button that you click, and that allows you to look people up. And then there's a red button. And this red button is right on the home screen. And I know you can't see this, but I'm showing Allison. And you just can press that red button anytime you feel a little bit unsafe. Tether members are connected to live 24/7 safety monitoring wherever they are. We literally have dispatch centers across the country and your GPS tracked. So if you're ever in a scenario where you might feel unsafe, you now have a very quick way to get help. So let's say you're supposed to meet a couple at a showing and suddenly just some dude gets out of the car and it just feels weird. Or maybe somebody's been upstairs at the open house for like 30 minutes and you're like, this is not feeling good anymore. Or maybe there's a pit bull that is like in the backyard. Anything you might feel unsafe, you just press that little red button and a 30-second timer starts. And so I press the button and I'm holding it up to the screen and the 30-second timer is started. That gives you a few seconds to just make sure, okay, I do potentially need help. Now there's a little 4-digit code you can put in and turn that timer off at any time, which I just turned off. But if that 30 seconds runs out, you're going to get a text and then a phone call from a live person. And they're going to say, Allison, your alarm just went off. Are you okay? And you can say, yeah, I'm fine. I just got spooked by the dog, but I'm okay. Perfect. What's your 4-digit code? You give them the code. They say, a live person says, I'm glad to hear you're safe. Have a wonderful day, Allison. No problem. Maybe they've called you and you're not sure. You can keep them on the line and say, you know what, guys, I got somebody coming in the house. I'm not sure. Can you just stay on the line with me for a second? Absolutely. These are trained people. They're work for Tether to be with you in all scenarios. So they'll stay on the line with you if you want. However, if that 30 seconds runs out and we reach out to you and you don't answer, then we're going to assume you need help and we're going to dispatch help to your exact location. We know exactly where you are. So we can send the police to your precise location. And trust me, it works. We've had lots of scenarios where people have needed help or asked for help, and it all works exactly as I described it. The police show up at their exact location. By the way, a text goes out to up to 3 contacts that you can have. It could be a friend, a spouse, any family member, the person at the open house down the street. They're going to get a text with your exact location also. So get you help right where you are.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's amazing. There's so many really great things, and what I loved you just explained is, these are trained people, right? This is not like your best friend who, hey, like stay on the phone with me while I go like walk in here, make sure I'm good. Like these are people who are trained and know how to respond, how to deal with these situations, how to make sure to get you safe and get you the help that you need if you do need it. And I think that's the really cool thing about this is the people that behind it are there. They know how to handle these situations and they're highly trained in that area.
we even encourage our agents, think of this as your personal security team.
Hmm.
Use it in real estate, use it anytime. Use it when you're on vacation. Use it when you're coming home from the bars at 11 o'clock. Use it in any scenario you want. It works. So that's the SOS feature. Now our third line of defense. These are things that happen in the background. We call them our proximity safety timers, which is kind of a mouthful. We probably will rename it something like tether timer or something, but this is where you could put in a single showing or you could put in a whole day's worth of showings, and it will recognize where you are, and you preset the average time it takes you to get through a showing. So let's say the average showing takes me 20 minutes. Great. You put in, say, 5 listings on a Saturday. This showings on a Saturday. The second you pull in the driveway, that 20 minutes starts. And if you're still at the property when that 20 minutes runs out, they'll call you and they'll say, "Hey, your showing's running a little long. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. We're good." "Okay, have a great day." The minute you leave the showing and pull out of the driveway, the 20 minutes stops and it starts again when you go into the next house. So by having your location, we're able to do some really innovative safety things. Same thing with open houses. You can set an open house timer and it will know exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you leave that property, they're going to reach out and say, "Hey, you're supposed to be at that open house till 3. Is everything okay?" Again, it seems like these are scenarios that make sense, but you probably wouldn't use. But if you do need them, they are potential lifesavers. Okay, our fourth line of defense, we call it our impact struggle alert. This uses the technology in the phone to detect like a physical altercation, like there's a bang against the phone, or somebody's been tackled or tased and the phone hits the ground, or a car crash. It uses the tech in the phone, and you can adjust the sensitivity, but it will set that alarm off. And again, you get 45 seconds on this one to turn it off, but it's wonderful help that you don't even have to ask for. So, our 4 lines of defense, one more time: look people up, great. SOS button, proximity safety timers for showings and open houses, and then our impact struggle alert. And before I get to a couple of productivity features, I'm going to pause for a second, Allison, and see if those all came across okay.
Yeah, no, I think that was perfect. I love all four of those. I'm going to make sure these are included in the show notes so people can go back if you're listening to this or driving and you're not able to jot some notes down. I'm going to include all of this spelled out for you guys in the show notes too, so you're able to take a look at this and read it back. But no, I think this is amazing. What four great features, and it sounds like those four really encompass, all of the common situations that realtors are dealing with in their business on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, you've covered a lot. You covered a lot, in those four scenarios and four features that I think agents, should absolutely be taking advantage of.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm going to move to a couple productivity things.
Yeah.
Now, we're a safety company, we're a safety app, and we're proud of it. And realtors know that they need to be safe and are starting to use this all the time. However, we know everybody's busy. And so we added a couple of productivity features just to help you in your regular business and quite frankly to help keep you using the app so you stay safe. The first are showing features. This is where you can put in one or multiple showings and you get the most amazing turn by turn directions, optimal routing, all that good stuff, right? And there might be some other things that are out there that have that, but you also have it baked into Tether. But here's what's unique. You can tether to your buyer. So if you're in separate cars on a showing, it's like when you order an Uber and you can see each other's um, like images, like there's a little car and a little person on the screen. So when your buyer's in a separate car, you know exactly where they are and they know exactly where you are. We call that actually our fifth line of defense because you don't need to speed through a stoplight at 40 miles an hour, right? You know where the other one is. So that's a really cool feature. And then when your buyer pulls up to the property, they're going to get a little bit of property information. They can leave notes. You can see the notes, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really cool productivity feature. No additional cost. It's included as part of your membership. And then the last one, or the newest one, and this is the one everybody's kind of freaking out about. We had an agent once say, okay, like you're already tracking for safety, and I'm paying all this money for a mileage tracker. Like I'm paying $100 a year, $150 a year for a mile. Could you guys make a mileage tracker for us? So we did. We made a mileage tracker, and this thing is crazy. It is the coolest thing. It's just running in the background. You never have to think about it. So it gives you a map of the drive, it gives you a start time and end time, all that kind of information in one place. And you just swipe right if it's business, left if it's personal. It'll throw it into a separate folder. And that's something that you can use to download to your accountant really simply and really easily. So, those are just a couple of productivity features that our agents are taking advantage of every day. But the mileage tracker is a big one. We've even had an agent say, now you're that mileage tracker company that does safety, right? And we're like, no, we're a safety company that does mileage tracking, but close.
But hey, however you want to take advantage of it, however you want to
For
use
sure.
in your day-to-day business, we're here for it. And it sounds like this is also simple to use, right? And you mentioned the app. Talk to us a little bit about how we should be using it, how to get it, how it integrates in our day-to-day lives, and how we really make this a part of our daily routine as we're heading out for the day.
Yeah. I mean, we know how busy everybody is. And so first things first, we wanted to combine multiple things into one app, right? So there's a lookup feature, there's all the safety things that I mentioned, there's the multiple showings, and there's the mileage tracker. That's four different programs, apps, platforms that are realtors might all have individually. We brought it all into one place. So it's very easy. Now, the next thing is we need to make this simple and easy for people to understand and use. It's a pretty intuitive app. I probably shouldn't admit this out loud, so I'll go ahead and admit it on a podcast. I've never watched a single one of our training videos ever, but I know how to use the app inside and out. It's really intuitive. Just play with it a little bit, but you'll have it mastered in 30 seconds. But we do have all that stuff. We have little 1 minute videos on here's how you do this, here's how you do that. So we wanted to make this thing really simple and really easy, and that's kind of speaking a realtor's language, right? So we've got plenty of things to kind of help you get ingrained in using this pretty quickly and easily. Now, in terms of getting it, this is where it gets kind of fun because your team at Ohio Realtors has negotiated a price, a special price, a 20% discount, where you can get Tether for $8 a month. And it includes everything. It includes literally, think of what you might pay for your home security system. This is like having a home security system. It just happens to be with you all the time and it's mobile. So $8 a month gets you all of that. And it gets you the productivity features, mileage trackers included. We do separate out lookups because some people do lookups a lot, some people don't. So if you want to do a reverse phone number or a reverse address search, it's 25 cents. And then a criminal background check is $1. So pretty affordable. Most agents just do a couple, three of those a month. And by the way, I didn't want to gloss over this. We are unique in our lookups, by the way, in so much as you can search by cell phone number, which you can in some other lookup platforms, but you can also search by address in Tether. And we're unique in that. So you can actually put in a property address and look at ownership for that. That's really important with all the listing fraud that's going on out there right now. It's also important from a safety standpoint because when people pretend to be somebody else, they'll give you a fake address. Like we just had in Annapolis, Maryland, an agent was working with a luxury buyer from Naples, Florida, that was looking to buy a place up in Annapolis. They claimed to be high net worth individual. As part of proving that out, they gave them their address of their luxury home in Naples. Guess what? They popped it into Tether, and two completely different people own the home and lived there. So you being able to search by address is really key because you can get ahead of some safety fraud, but you can get ahead of listing fraud as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm thinking like the, options for this are endless. I mean, I'm even thinking like personally, like the amount of spam calls we get on a regular basis. Like my mom just texted me the other day and said, "Oh my God, I got so deep into this conversation with this person who said my Walmart account was charged and I talked to them so much." And I'm like, just even thinking of examples like that. Like, yes, protecting yourself, as you're out in the field working your day-to-day jobs, but protecting yourself from scams and frauds. I mean, having that ability at the touch of your fingertips to just go in and Google a weird phone number, or hey, I got a weird text that my B&B, registration's expiring. I mean, there's so many practical ways to use this that also goes beyond, just using it in a real estate capacity, which I think is really cool.
Also, and thank you for saying that, Allison. Also, we spend a lot of time talking about meeting people for showings, and we probably don't spend enough time talking about how this could be used at an open house,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the SOS features are kind of obvious for sure, but when you get people to sign in at open houses, just while they're looking through the house, if you're not with them, put their cell phone number into Tether. It takes 2 seconds. And you're going to get a whole bunch of information on that person while they're there at the open house. And I think will help inform that conversation a little bit better from a safety standpoint for sure. I mean, that's why you're doing it for safety. But anyway, once you think about things like this, Allison, it does not take long to think how else this can be used. And eventually, I mean, Tether's a real estate company. We are founded with real estate, but we have a lot of realtors that are like, can I get this for my daughter in college? Or can I get this for, we will for sure expand to those other areas eventually because it's kind of a no-brainer when you think about it. And you might land on where I landed when I saw this for the first time in the fall. I'm not suggesting you leave your job and go look for, the work for us, but it's like this is such an obvious solution that you're almost shocked that nobody had thought of this before.
Yeah, well, we are glad it exists. So thanks for bringing it to us. Thanks for being a partner with us. And thanks for caring about wanting to keep our members safe. Whether you are man, woman, it affects everyone. We always need to be sure we're keeping it top of mind. Through Tether is a great way to do that. Just download it today. As we mentioned, we put together a really great deal for you guys for being a part of Ohio Realtors. And we're excited. We're excited about the partnership. Any last things we should know about the app? Advice on using it? Any last things you want to wrap up with our listeners before we close out the show today?
Yeah, I think we hit the highlights. The team at Ohio Realtors has done such a terrific job in making this available, and it's easy to use and figure out how to download and all that kind of stuff. So I would just suggest go through those steps. It won't take you but a couple of minutes to do. And then, yeah, just start using it and start playing with it. And like I like to say, when we do onboardings or as we did originally with the Ohio Realtors, I like to say, you're going to be safer by the time you hang up this or end this Zoom or whatever. You, as Ohio Realtors, are going to be safer the second you download this. Guarantee you will be safer than you were the second before you did. So we encourage everybody to use it and be safe out there.
Yes, as you mentioned, it's a no-brainer. So make sure you can check out the Ohio Realtors website under our member benefits tab. We have all of the information listed there, including the deal that you get by being a part of Ohio Realtors. And yeah, it's Realtor Safety Month. No better time to do it than right now. So yeah,
Yes. And Allison, can I add one more quick thing?
of course.
This was, again, a request from some members. We have launched what we call the Tether Safe community. So when you become a member of Tether, you get the technology, of course, but we built a private Facebook group. And every month we have a private Zoom call just for Tether members. And this is so cool because these are realtors across the country. And we talk about safety, but we don't just talk about safety. We just had a Zoom call a couple of days ago, our monthly, and we covered the gamut of real estate, what people are seeing. I mean, tell us about your market, what's going on. On our first call, we had 2 agents do a referral deal on the call, like live. We watched it during the chat. So if you're looking to build out your network, which we all are, this is another great way. The Tether Safe community comes as part of Tether, and it's across the country and it's growing really fast.
That's amazing. And yeah, like you mentioned, who isn't trying to expand their business to get those referrals? Great way to meet people from all over the country too. I mean, that's amazing. So, Brennan, I want to thank you again so much for joining me. Thanks for sharing a little bit more about Tether. Congrats on an amazing product, and we are so happy to be partners with you.
Thanks for the opportunity to share, and have a wonderful day, and everybody be safe out there.
And to all you guys listening, thanks so much for tuning in. As Brennan said, stay safe. We will be with you guys next week. Talk to you then.
Thank you for listening to The Real View. That wraps up today's episode. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at ohiorealtors.org/therealview and on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Have questions, comments, or suggestions? We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@ohiorealtors.org. We'll see you next time.